The hell?
Hello there, Jado. Since the year 1996, the Mission Impossible films have enthralled audiences the world over with their thrilling espionage plots, high-octane stunts and action, and charismatic characters. However, despite the franchise's popularity and success for nearly 3 decades, only 2 video games licensed on the films have been released. You have already reviewed the first movie licensed game on the Nintendo 64, and let's be honest, you sucked at it. But now is your chance at redemption. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to review the other Mission Impossible movie licensed game, Operation Surma, on the Nintendo GameCube. This briefing will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Wait, this is the device that I use for my mobile VR game! Ah! I can't play Star Wars Jedi challenges! The game begins with Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise's character from the movies, diving and exploring the wreckage of a submarine without an air supply! Oh, my bad, I didn't know we were playing as Aquaman, one of the few people even more cursed in video game adaptations. 2 other divers show up and shoot a harpoon at Ethan, but it turns out the harpoon is a container for a mission briefing that plugs into Ethan's goggles, plus an air supply so that he can watch the briefing underwater. Dudes, just wait till he's back up on the surface. I promise this can wait a whole 2 minutes until the dumb bastard has to come up for air. How much R&D money was wasted on all this underwater briefing shit that Ethan probably can't hear properly anyway because sound doesn't carry cleanly through friggin' liquid? And dumb question, what if they missed? Aw, fudge, I'm gonna need that briefing back for, an agent without an extra hole in his heart. Cripes. So, a former super spy named Simon Algo is now running the government of... I can never remember the country's name, so I'm just going to call it Fakistan. Algo took over Fakistan with a bloodless coup, and now he's a dictator that the United States government doesn't like very much. So Ethan's been assigned to go to Fakistan to pick up a defector to find out if Algo's up to anything nefarious. What never stops being jarring is that while Luther, Ethan's hacker friend, is voiced by Ving Rhames from the movies, Ethan is voiced by Steve Blum doing his famous Wolverine voice. And when Ethan is turning on the charm to seduce a key informant, or swearing to jeopardize the mission to save a civilian, or playfully riffing with his best friend, you don't buy it for a second with Blum's growling!
Your next mission, should you choose to accept it.
You're a funny guy, Luther. You're pretty funny for a computer geek. I always keep my promises.
Ethan.
Just get me in range, Luther. I'll do the rest.
Don't get me wrong, Steve Blum's a great voice actor. He was just wildly miscast, misdirected, or both for this game. Then again, Ethan Hunt is voiced by Steve Blum, and John Anderton is voiced by Clancy Brown. Tom Cruise might have it in his contract that he can only be voiced by legends. Operation Surma is a stealth action game. Most of the levels task you with sneaking your way to the exit by taking down enemies, sabotaging cameras, and eluding tripwires without raising any alarms. To do this, you have an arsenal of gadgets like a tranquilizer gun, an electronic warfare gun to shoot out cameras, night vision goggles that dye the whole screen green, a grapple gun to climb pipes around tricky terrain, and lasers and lockpicks to just melt through any door that the game has not arbitrarily blocked off. And it doesn't take long into the tutorial to notice the gameplay is kinda clunky. You navigate your inventory with the control pad and select gadgets with A, pressing B just exits the menu. But once the gadget is equipped, B uses the gadget and A puts it away. So the buttons are completely swapped. You hold Z and press X to press up against a wall, even though just pushing X doesn't do anything! X jumps, but Ethan climbs things and jumps on his own by just running into ledges. You can count the number of times X is actually used on its own on one hand! You also press Z and L to pull out the night vision, only you have to push Z before you push L, because if you had L pushed first, all you do is crouch. You have to be extremely precise when doing stealth takedowns on guards. Get close enough to cough on him, but not so close that you accidentally touch him. And just hope that he doesn't whirl around on a dime and spot you anyway, which he always will. Your binoculars will sometimes be used to take pictures for objectives, but the binoculars have an alternate mode that doesn't take pictures, nor does it seem to do anything else. But the worst element of the controls is the grappling hook. Even if you aim it directly at an object that can be grappled with no obstructions whatsoever in your path, the grappling hook will still outright refuse to fire unless you are standing on one ungodly specific unmarked spot, which you have to find through trial and error. The controls just don't feel well planned out, and they're a constant annoyance even once you're used to them. But if you're worried that uncooperative controls might royally screw you over in a stealth game where precision is key, fear not, because getting caught is not usually an instant death. If you take out any alerted enemies and then shut off the alarm within 30 seconds, you can continue the mission with absolutely zero penalty. No guards on higher alert, no enemies altering their patrol patterns. Everybody assumes it was a false alarm and goes back to normal. Even if you get caught 20 friggin' times per mission. 'Cause you know, this doesn't arouse any suspicion.
Alert! Security system engaged. Facility lockdown commenced. Base alarms have been deactivated. Security forces return to checkpoints. Repeat. Security forces return to checkpoints. Alert! Security system engaged. Facility... Base alarms have been deactivated. Security forces Alert! Base alarms have been deactivated. Base alarms have been deactivated. Base alarms have been deactivated.
Make up your mind! Ethan makes it to the informant and gets a disc, but then the informant is shot by a mysterious assassin! With the base alerted to his presence, Ethan grabs a gun so you can shoot your way out of the base with the gun combat. And the gun combat is... embarrassing! You just walk through a few hallways, annihilating everyone in your path because your aiming cursor is the size of a house! You just look in someone's general direction and they die! Did they have someone who was garbage at shooters running their QA department or something? You can really tell where the dev team's priorities laid when the gun that shuts off cameras has to be pinpoint precisely aimed, but the gun that shuts off living is made to where a monkey can use it. And the kid mode combat might just be the clue you need to deduce what kind of game we're dealing with here. Mission Impossible Operation Surma isn't bad because it's rage-inducing, frustrating, or incomprehensible. It's just bland as all hell. The game babies you so much with its stealth mechanics in ways that you can't even imagine yet that any tactics or planning go sailing right out the window. And the gun combat is so shockingly remedial that you basically walk through the exit. Combat boils down to mash A 4 times to insta-kill everyone. And multiple levels in between the two barely gameplay styles are just agonizingly slow yet dirt simple puzzles that drag the game to a crawl. I just didn't find anything that was fun or thrilling or engaging about this bland-ass dishwater game. There's an odd level here or there that pissed me off, but the overall experience is barely an experience. But I'm already set on doing a Mission Impossible game to keep with a dumb theme of summer blockbuster tie-ins, so will I exaggerate the mediocre game's every slight problem to try and keep the video entertaining? Yes. The IMF studies the disc from their dead informant and finds out that Algo is tied to the Los Muertos research facility, which is secretly developing deadly neurotoxins. Although, given that this laboratory's name literally translates to Dead People Research, probably should have been a red flag already. First, you need to break into the lab by getting close photographs of the faces of a guard and a lead scientist. Piece of cake! First I punch out one of the guards so I can scan his face, I sneak around taking out the rest of the guards, and... where the hell is the scientist? You aren't even given a hint of where the hell this dude is, and you need to scan him before an unseen time limit runs out. Every other level in the game marks your objectives on the minimap, but not this one! So what the hell? Well, I run up the clock and nab the guy as he's about to exit the area. I knock him out like I did the guard, and I fail the level. What? You didn't have a problem with me photographing an unconscious dude before, but now I pick up a fail for it? Okay, plan B. Take the dude's picture and then knock him out. This should get the game off my— What?! If the scientist dude sees you at all, even if he doesn't raise the alarm, it's an automatic fail. You need to take a photo of the front of a dude's face without that dude actually seeing you. That's like a batshit Zen riddle. Son of a bitch, there's exactly one heavily shadowed spot on the map, and it just happens to overlook the parking lot where your target's hanging out, and he just happens to walk straight towards you for a photo. You're just meant to instinctively know all that right off the bat. Crap's sake. So next you have to sneak into the lab, knock out the scientist, and log him out of the computer so another agent can take his place. Sounds simple enough, except literally your first step into this level, you're forced to cross through a metal detector. That sets off an alarm, which sends the guards running. I trank the guards and shut off the alarm. Piece of cake! Except even once all the guards and cameras have been taken out, the alarm keeps getting raised mere seconds after I shut it off. What keeps spotting me? The game doesn't give you a single freaking hint as to what you're doing wrong. As dickish as the Family Guy game was, at least its stealth level spelled out who caught you so that you could learn from your mistakes. So you want to know what keeps killing me? There's a guy in the office off to the right that you can barely see, and if you ever pop out of cover or leave a single unconscious guard out in the open, he rings the alarm non-stop, and there is not a damn thing you can do about it. It seems to instantly render the game unwinnable. And there's no way in without setting off an alarm for the metal detectors. Son of a bitch, there's a pipe in the ceiling you probably didn't know was there. You're supposed to grapple to and climb to have any remote chance of the level being playable. God. And can I just take a second to call out Ethan's costume in this game? Because I can't tell if the devs want you to mistake him for Sam Fisher or Solid Snake. Even knowing how the level works, I still got caught non-friggin' stopped by enemies popping up from corners behind me or some shit. Guards that I had no way of knowing were there. This doesn't feel like any kind of competent stealth gameplay design, aside from the fact that there's generally no penalty for failure. The enemy AI is as rudimentary as it gets. Guards have a simple patrol pattern that you observe and strike when they're in private. If either you or a dead body gets spotted, every enemy in the immediate area just permanently knows exactly where you are until you take them out. But it's only the immediate area that gets alerted. The next room, or even the other guards in this main chamber, will not react at all to you being detected. So no matter how badly you screw up, the next room begins with a clean slate. Some areas you can lure enemies into shadowed areas because they'll just blindly follow a potential intruder into a dark corner where they can't see a damn thing.
Yes, it's because you're stupid!
And you're supposed to be able to make noises with the electronics gun to cause distractions and lure guards places, but it doesn't work. Like, at all. So the actual stealth mechanics are bare bones to boot. Okay, knock out the doctor, rendezvous with Ethan's faceman who impersonates the doctor while Ethan takes the face of a guard. The sneak should be snuck much more easily from here on out, and Ethan's mask rips 5 seconds later and he immediately ditches the guard's outfit, so I'm right back to square one. Cock! Then you get by some turrets by hiding behind pop-up wooden targets. Then you sneak by lasers to rappel to some hard drives in a painfully slow minigame. And then you hack more computers to delete the intel that the bad guys were after. And then you go through a few halls that are barely patrolled by a whole 1 or 2 guards looking for people to interrogate and codes to pick up with virtually zero resistance. It's like over an hour of effortless busy work as the game takes pity on you for having to play it. Also, it's a damn good thing that I reloaded the second objective until I got through it only on fists, because this whole Los Muertos laboratory mission that's divided into 10 levels, your tranquilizer gun gets 10 darts for the entire operation with 0 refills. Better sneak those sneaks unarmed, or it'll bite you square in the ass unless you redo half the levels. Ethan gets down to the lab and destroys the neurotoxins only to be sealed in with knockout gas. You have like 2 minutes to find a way out. The palm scanner with the knocked out guard doesn't work anymore. There's no computer to hack your way out. The only thing that works is to magically know there's a pipe in the ceiling to grapple to through the glass dome if you can find the one magic spot where the game allows you to do it. This grappling hook is rapidly becoming the bane of my existence. Thank God this team never made a Batman game! Fine! Screw you. I've got a backup anyway. Crap! Ethan shoots his way out, and the hitman that Algo sent, I think, tries to set off bombs to blow the laboratory. You have a stage where you track down 3 bombs, and this one might take a while, since the objectives are not marked anywhere on the map. One's hidden behind a tiny hatch in the floor that I could barely find, even knowing that it was there, and another is at the top of a ladder that I couldn't find because the camera never had a reason to point at it! But then we chase down Algo's hitman and we have our first boss battle. Hitman dude can actually shoot from cover, so landing hits on him without dying isn't working all that well. Bafflingly, shooting him in the face doesn't work. I thought maybe I was supposed to run up to him and shoot him, but even if he's in the middle of reloading, he will magically one-shot your ass instantaneously. Luckily, I noticed that there's something weird going on with this fight. The boss will regularly spawn in goons 2 at a time, and at one point the game allowed me to shoot one of his spawning henchmen through the bottom of the helicopter pad. The cursor turned red to mark a good shot even though I was aiming square at a wall. And you might think that this was just a weird goof, but after shooting straight into the wall, only 1 henchman popped out. This fight is bugged to where Ethan Hunt can shoot through walls! Seriously! Just crouch behind a box and keep shooting. The hitman will take constant damage whether he's behind cover or not. Good thing I packed the ghost bullets, apparently. Yeah, the assassin dude has a name and a backstory, but I didn't bother to learn either because he's dead now and he's never relevant to the game ever again. Algo has a henchwoman named Sofia Ivanescu who made a special virus called Iceworm that hacked the laboratory. And given that his minion tried to blow up a ton of civilians, Sofia is starting to suspect that Algo might just be evil. Brilliant! So Ethan has to go to Fakistan and try and turn Sofia to good. Because that's great storytelling. We destroyed the boss's bioweapons and killed his main henchman. That's the point when the spy movie is over. What's all this crap about? Well, let's try and turn one of his other workers and just see if he's up to anything else while we're at it, just to, cover all our bases. After surveying Sofia with a drone, Ethan has to follow her inside Algo's base. Simple enough, until I hit a door that I cannot figure out for the life of me how you open. And no, for once, there is no pipe overhead to grapple to. So what now? Huh. I had not considered crossing dimensions through the space between spaces to be an option. It turns out there's a completely anonymous switch like a mile away at a guard checkpoint that you're just instinctively supposed to know opens this door. Because if you were paying insanely close attention to the anonymous guard instead of the woman you were tracking, you'll notice that he operates a similar switch that just looks like a wall texture to open a similar door. Am I the idiot here? Because that just blew me away that I was supposed to take such a minor background detail as a game-critical clue, or that you basically have to restart this whole level multiple times if you want to have any shot of seeing that clue again. And while I was rummaging through my inventory looking for the drone, I found something interesting. This is the first mission in the game that gives you Ethan's handgun right at the offset, rather than saving it until you have to shoot your way out at the end. And you're like, nah, there's no way that this isn't a trap, right? How the hell can a sneaky stealth game all about not getting detected possibly be okay with you getting into loud gun battles, leaving piles of bodies all over? Holy shit, the game does not care if you just openly shoot all the enemies to death. There are at least 5 guys around the corner who should have heard that. So yeah, whipping out an unsilenced pistol and just popping all the guards in broad daylight does not fail the stealth levels. It only alerts 1 or 2 guards in the immediate area, and as long as you shut off any alarms before time runs out, you remain undetected. You can get into a massive shootout mere feet outside the bad guy's main headquarters or better yet, in the middle of the enemy barracks inside the main enemy base, and nobody will notice. Congratulations! What little stealth the game had has crumbled into dust. Unless there's a jaghole in an office clear on the other side of the map who spots you immediately and raises infinite alarms, which is what happened in part 2 of this mission. Yeah, there's not much point in even trying to be stealthy anymore. No matter what you do, you'll get caught by guards you had no way of knowing were there everywhere that you go. It's worth pointing out that you have 2 gadgets to try and help with not getting caught. A sonic imager to see through doors and a PDA to look through enemy cameras. I barely used either of them. There's like one moment all game where a guard is on the other side of a door, so that's useless. And you're given no context for where any of the cameras are, making the information confusing at best. The game gives you all these stealth tools that don't work, so just kill them all and let God sort them out. Algo has another right-hand minion named Berkut, and he orders Berkut to capture Sophia alive and torture her for... I couldn't tell you. I think he just wants the hacking virus that she made. So you have a very annoying level escorting Sophia out with wasp drones that control like crap and have 1 taser shot apiece, and then a very long escort sniper section. And sniping is easy as piss, because enemies will just stand in one place for ages instead of actually running on their target.
Yes, it's because you're stupid!
It may be you who ends up dead. I'm not gonna let anything happen to you. You have my word on that.
Sophia joins your team and tells you that the bioweapon research has moved to a prison that Algo runs, because prisons are known for their world-class biolabs. So now we have to break into another facility to shut down their bioweapon research before... I have no idea. Okay, I slammed Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings for the same thing, but this is a really weak sauce story for a Mission Impossible installment. The impetus of Operation Surma is, there's a foreign dictator that we don't like, so go find out if he's corrupt or anything. That's it. And yeah, we eventually find out the guy's got his hands on some neurotoxins that we immediately destroy before they can become a threat. It's like, why is this guy researching weapons? Are these weapons close to being deployed? Is he actually planning on using any of them? If so, how? When? And where? Is he trying to topple a world power? Is he trying to kickstart a global conflict? Is the real point of the game Sophia's iceworm virus so that he can hack the most secret of government and corporate secrets? I don't know! We're just investigating this kinda shady guy and hoping that eventually a plot and some stakes reveal themselves. Contrast with the 2 movies that were out prior to the game, which opened with Stop a Traitor from Destroying America's Entire Security Network and Stop a Global Supervirus, to say nothing of later installments going, Stop this dude from nuking the world! Yeah, looking into a dictator with no imminent plans to do anything is way below Ethan Hunt's pay grade. And I never would have made this particular connection since I haven't played the games in question, but from what I've heard, the plot of investigate this shady foreign leader after a bloodless coup, pretty much exactly the premise of the first Splinter Cell. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell released in November 2002 and took the world by storm. An innovative blockbuster stealth and secret agent game, it was an instantly iconic franchise. And Mission Impossible Operation Surma released 1 year and 1 month after Splinter Cell and kinda plays like a cheap photocopy of the instant classic. It feels a lot like Operation Surma was Atari rushing to copy Ubisoft's landmark title with whatever cheap license they could get their hands on. Because again, only 2 Mission Impossible movies had been released by this point. A rushed development would explain the half-assed mechanics, the near non-existent story, the stupid AI, the cheap deaths, and the complete lack of understanding of how stealth games are supposed to work. Anyway, prison. I set 1 foot outside to begin the first prison level, and I died immediately, because some levels hand you an automatic fail for getting caught once, and this is one of them. Grand. So what do? Shoot everyone to death in broad daylight! I still can't believe this crap works, but if the cameras don't catch it, it didn't happen. I feel like the 4th mission is where the devs were kinda giving up, because most of this mission's a short cakewalk. Objective 1 is taking out all of 2 guards who don't even try to raise an alarm. Objective 2 is all of 1 friggin' room where you just have to punch out 3 people. Objective 3 is a massive tripwire puzzle room where the only real puzzle is trying to guess where this restrictive-ass game will allow you to go without dying, and trying to guess where to stand for the melon-farming grappling hook to work! And parts 4 and 5, you just walk down a few hallways shooting a single-digit number of guards apiece. And because these stealth levels can be perfectly completed by a drunken rhinoceros, it's not until the 6th part of this mission that getting spotted has consequences, which you will get spotted because there are 3 off-screen assholes that you eventually find after dying out of nowhere over and over. Sophia's dead dad isn't actually dead, and he tells you how to neutralize the neurotoxins. I think you're supposed to discreetly sneak around all the scientists and the guards in disguise, only sabotaging the bioweapons when nobody's looking. But I just ran through and punched out all the guards. Problem solved. But then some anonymous douchebag blows the team's cover and grabs Sophia, and you have to shoot and snipe your way out of the prison. Oh no, I am so unprepared for getting into gunfights in a prison. However, will I make my way through? And the hilarious thing about all this mess, anonymous douchebag here, that's Simon Algo, the main villain of the game. They've done such an abysmal job establishing anything about the plot that I didn't recognize the main villain. Ethan, I pushed R to draw your weapon, not to order you to slowly pick up the dead guy. There's a soldier 2 feet away shooting you in the back! Dumbass! Whatever. Ethan gets to the chopper! And they escape. Guys, slight problem. Where is Sophia's dad? I thought we were rescuing him on this evac, but the dude's nowhere to be found. And I know he's important because when I accidentally shot him earlier, it was an automatic fail. I think the devs just forgot to make a model of the doctor for cutscenes and hoped nobody would notice he's not here! So we've blown up the bad guy's secret doomsday weapons lab twice, and any presumed plans the villain may have had are completely thwarted, but the game is still not over because now we have to save the girl from the bad guy's backup secret headquarters. Sophia's held captive on Algo's plane, so Ethan breaches the plane in mid-flight with a freaking jetpack! James Bond is calling bullshit! And even though there's a tight, nearly impossible-looking stealth section on the plane, with Algo hopping onto the intercom to directly announce a game over if you get caught, you can just shoot more guards than are physically capable of fitting onto this airplane and win just fine. Sophia falls out of the airplane, so you have to skydive to a henchman to steal a parachute, and then to Sophia to save her. And if a skydiving minigame sounds like a fitting Mission Impossible-style epic stunt to end the game, it's not. You have to dive to reach your objectives, but the controls lock up while diving to where you can barely move, and you can press R to slow down in midair, but I found out the hard way that all your objectives move at the minimum possible speed. If you accidentally pass up your target by even just a foot or two, it renders the level unwinnable. And there's no checkpoint in this level, so if you screw up grabbing Sophia, then you have to do the first dive again. Ethan, Algo, and Sophia land on the building of a shell company that Algo runs called the Surma building. Wait, that's the whole reason the game is called Operation Surma? It's literally just the name of the arbitrary location where the climax takes place. It'd be like if Batman Begins was called Batman on a Train! What other dumb movie names would you get from that? And for the final boss battle, Algo puts on a cloaking device to become completely invisible. Unless these movies are secretly crossovers with Predator, none of the Mission Impossible movies get anywhere near this ludicrous! Although I admit I haven't seen the second one. Everybody said that it sucks. This might have been a challenging final boss, except Algo is kind of stupid, and he tends to just stand in one place out in the open, unable to hit you crouching behind a box. And then you shoot him and he's crushed to death by cogs, because whatever the fuck Algo's company does somehow requires having a clock tower inside the building for some reason. Job well done, Ethan. You saved some people, probably, from a guy who may or may not have had a plan to do something. I don't know, Ethan's got a girl to pork before he gets married in the third movie 2.5 years later. That seems to be the biggest takeaway from this mess. Mission Impossible Operation Surma is... blah. It's loaded down with problems from at least the appearance of rushing to mooch off a bigger game, but aside from a few annoyingly confusing levels, its problems at least make it an easy ride that just kinda comes and goes, having left zero impact. It's baffling how much a dev team can completely miss the point of a supposed stealth game, but the failures here are more funny than maddening. I know there's a Game Boy Advance version that was reviewed far worse, but I've always found handheld games not substantial enough to carry a full video. Maybe I'll do it when Dead Reckoning Part 2 comes out. If it ever does, between all the Hollywood strikes. These Nika prop grappling hooks are piles of crap, by the way. This one broke after about, 20 or so uses. This one broke after 3. And you might say, oh, you're a mechanical engineer, can't you just take them apart and fix them? Well, no, you can't, because the screws on this one are so damn cheap that they gall and break and the heads twist off when you try and open the damn thing, and at least one of the screws is hidden beneath a plate, and both of them you have to take an X-Acto knife and cut the crap out of both of them so that even if you get them working, they look like garbage when you're done. Now the prop batarangs are friggin' awesome.